Somebody pick up their phone, please. Somebody pick up the phone. Somebody pick up the phone. Bam. That is money down the drain. Missed phone calls. Small businesses strive to get those phone calls, and then we don't answer them. It's money down the drain. Hi, folks. I'm Stacy with Ignited Sparks Marketing here to talk to you about one of the largest problems that small businesses have, and that is the inability to answer incoming phone calls. As I said, that's money down the drain. But what's the impact of a missed call on your business? This is a nice little article that I wanted to talk about a few of the points in there before I jump over to our presentation. The reasons for a missed call, and the number one reason is insufficient staff to handle the call load, and that happens with most small businesses, especially one-man, two-man shops where you just started out your business. You don't want to spend a lot of money on people to answer the phone call. We understand that. We've been there ourselves, so we know if you have too much staff, that overhead costs you a lot. And even with the requisite technology, people don't like to be on hold a long time. I know I, for one, I can't stand being on hold. So if you've got me on hold a long time, you probably put me on hold for 2 or 3 minutes before I bounce. I'm out of there because I'm not sitting there waiting around on hold. Especially if you hadn't given me the option to leave a message. But not going to go with the employees. That message leaving a voicemail, give me the option of leaving a voicemail. I may or may not leave a voicemail. We've seen that most people will not leave a voicemail, so don't count on voicemail. I've done that, and it kind of bit me in the butt, and I'll go over that a little bit later. And the younger generation prefer digital communication over phone call. Fortunately for us business owners, more and more of our customer base is getting younger. In most businesses, it depends on your business, of course, but mostly they're getting younger. And so the old fogies who like myself prefer a phone call or a dying breed. So most of the younger generations are into texting. And we're going to take advantage of that. What do we lose when we miss a call? A paying customer. That paying customer is the lifeblood of our business. And we need them. And it took a lot of work for us to get paying customers to call us. So we've got to communicate with them. A recurring customer, someone that loves you, that's a fan of your business, will use you over and over and over and over again. That total customer value, that number we want to raise as high as we can, goes up and up and up every time they use us, because also our cost of acquisition, we've acquired them. So the cost of acquisition have stayed the same, and we have more money coming in, we have more total value. The reviews bring in new customers because they see that, hey, these guys, Joe's Plumbing, does great work. So let's call Joe to come over here and look at our problem. And the referral. A referral is better than a review, because when the person get a referral, they're giving it to people they know. And that referral has been received by the new prospect by someone they know. They trust it far more than a review. So those are the things that we miss out when we miss that call. Now, some of the tips that we're really not going to go over, but you can go over here to this page and check that out. Pipelines are good. We can't get more bodies. Switching to VoIP may work. Transform phone calls to text. That's what we're going to talk about right there. So before we go over that, let's go to lead time. The longer you take to get back to that missed call, the easier someone else will take that lead. And our IT company, we called a lead back in 15 minutes because we didn't have enough people to answer all the phones. So we were depending on calling people back that left messages. And 15 minutes to us didn't seem like a long time, and we prided ourselves on getting back to people within 15 or 20 minutes after they called. Well, we called this prospect back, and she had already booked an appointment with a competitor. That's when we knew something had to change, because, as I said, that hurt us big time. But you have 5 minutes. Now, these numbers come from a Harvard study. You have 5 minutes to get back to a customer. After that, 80% of their interest in your business is gone. Some say that's impossible, and if you just have bodies answering the phone and you don't have any systems, it probably is impossible. Because if you're a lone wolf plumber, for instance, and you're out there fixing a sink or a drain or toilet, you can't answer the phone doing that. So you've got to finish that job and then get back to the customer. Now, we also have people filling out forms, and of those forms, people fill out forms, only 7% of companies responded within the first 5 minutes. We're going to fix that. So I hope you weren't expecting to hear back anytime soon, because more than half of companies did not even respond over 5 days. And the fast responders all had automated backups that we're going to talk about. But most businesses are still not using those chats and the texting mechanisms to help them keep those customers at least a little bit. This is the same data just presented a different way. And we have those 32 companies, and like, as I said, this was a Harvard study. 32 companies, 7% responded within the 5 minutes. These guys had automated stuff. Then we got the one-day folks getting almost to 30%. This number was really interesting because over the 0.5%, 55% took 5+ days or didn't respond ever, and that really sucks because you took a lot to get that that customer to call you. 78% of people buy from the first company that picks up the phone. I put first responder here. 78% buy from the first person that pick up the phone. I'm going to say that again. 78% buy from the first responder. Whether that's phone call or text message. You've got to be first. So if they've called you first, or even they called you second or third, and the first two didn't answer, that text message that you is going to send them makes us the first responder in that scenario. If we respond to them within the first minute, we're almost 400% higher in converting that prospect into a customer. We're not talking about bookings, we're talking about conversion. Just so you know, conversion is where the prospect becomes a customer. That means they paid you money. So once they pay you money, they become a customer. And 400% conversion to customer. That's an awesome number. After the 5 minutes have passed, there's an 80% decrease in the chance that you're going to convert them. So forget about getting that cup of coffee before responding. That was me. Prospect comes in, leave a message. I'm going to go get me a cup of coffee before I respond so I can be in the right frame of mind. How much business did I lose getting that cup of coffee, man? It's like, how much did I lose? 55%, as stated earlier, take 5+ days to respond. And I'm about to, and that's a wild number, but 12% of companies never follow up. Never follow up. Why? That's something I've never been able to figure out. never follow up. But we're not going to get into that. And as I said, the data came from a Harvard business study. But that 12% that never followed up just really threw me for a loop. And so how can we help you avoid missing out on those phone calls? We're not going to answer the phone calls for you. Nope, we're not a call center. So we're not going to answer the phone calls for you. What we're going to do is what we call missed call text back. They call us, we don't answer. We're going to text them back. And that's great because then that allows us to be the first responder in a lot of cases, and we don't miss out on that phone call. So we got an inbound phone call, and this is a little bit high level, this flow chart here. But so we've got an inbound phone call, and we miss it. We miss it. We didn't answer it. It goes to voicemail. They stopped ringing it after 4 or 5 rings. They hung up. All of those things constitute an inbound call that was missed. I probably should have put that was missed here. I probably should have put missed call, but I'll change that later. So the first thing we want to do, and this flow chart is how I have our thing set up, and we're going to build this in the next video so you can see how it is, and even going to give you a link if you're using high level or our system to download this so you can put it in your thing. It may not work perfectly if you download it into your system, but we're going to give this away. So the first thing we want to look at is whether or not this is an appointment. And I'm going to go to appointment first because that one's a little bit shorter. If it is an appointment, we're going to send them back a message that says, Cindy, hey Cindy, sorry we couldn't answer your call. Did you call about your upcoming appointment? Yes or no? So Cindy put in no. And so we send her back a message, how can we help you? If Cindy puts in yes, that it was an appointment, we send a message, your appointment is at this date and time. We look forward to seeing you. Did this answer your question? Again, we're asking yes or no. If it answers the question, yes, and we're going to repeat that appointment, date, time, and that goes to the end. But if it didn't, we send another message, how can we help you? Cindy is going to reply with how we can help her. Now, if Cindy does not have a user assigned, then we're going to assign her to a user if she's unassigned. And then once we do that, we're going to, and I didn't put that branch in there just to simplify this. Then we're going to notify the user either by, and the user is our employee or our sales or our subcontractor, or however you work in your business, the people that do the actual work for you. We're going to send them a notification. I personally like to send a text message and an email because my self, being mid-50s, I probably will see that email before I see the text. Younger people are going to see the text before they see the email. So that's how we do it. I send it both ways to guarantee somebody's going to see it. Now, you can demand, there's also a system notification. I typically don't use those because you've got to be into the system and you're looking up in the top right corner and say, oh, I got a little yellow icon. I got a notification. Most people are not going to see that. So we send something that they're going to see, regardless of whether they're in the system or not. And then we, once that user is notified, then we either call or text the user. Now, in our system, we don't identify whether or not a user prefer text or call yet. We're going to do that soon. But in my opinion, calling a user is better because, we've been texting them already. Let's get away from the texting and let's call them. Now, you can set this up to do an automatic phone call. That may work in your business. Sometimes it works in mind when there's a lot of people available at their desk to do that, but a lot of times it's not. So we just notify that they need to call them. An automated call is that the system will call the user. Let's say me. The system will call Stacy, and it's like, "Hey, Stacy, you got this call to Cindy," and then it connects me with Cindy automatically. And that's great because that call is tracked fully in the system. Even if I call manually through the system, that is also tracked. If I wanted to record phone calls, I could also record the phone calls. And I like and dislike the record phone call feature, but we won't go into that in this one. So let's say that the incoming call was not someone that had an appointment. So then we go through the user type decision of whether or not it's a lead, prospect, or customer. And to cover that real quick, a lead is someone, let's say they've called you for the very first time. You know absolutely nothing about that person. That person is a lead. Let's say you may have sent them an email in the past that you've been sending them text or email for marketing, and they never looked at any of it. That person is a lead. A prospect is a lead that has shown some interest in your business, whether they actually open one of those emails you sent, or open a text message, or went out on Facebook and asked for some information, responded to one of your Facebook ads, or anything where they've shown some interest in communicating with you. We graduate that person to prospect. In that case, we typically know their name. So we're going to send a message. Well, let me go back to, before I go there, I'm sorry. Customer is someone that has paid you money. They have paid you money, and you know all kind of stuff about them because they've paid you money. So that's how we differentiate the user types. So for the lead, we're going to send a message, and these messages are all customizable. By no means are these set in stone. So thank you for calling Acme Plumbing, your home services superhouse, because you should be. We are sorry that we missed your call. How can we help? Then we're going to put in a wait. Now, I don't have to wait in all these things, but we got to put in a wait because we don't want to send this one immediately. The wait depends on your business and how you normally do business. This could be an hour. It could be 5 minutes, a little bit low. 20 minutes might be the sweet spots, but we're going to wait, and then we're going to send another message. Now, I didn't write out that message here, but I started off again. I didn't put all that beginning stuff. It's like, "Hi, this is Acme Plumbing. Just following up. Are you still interested?" or something like that. This should be a call, in my opinion. But again, it's your business. But if you're asking my opinion, this should be a call. We're going to again wait, but this next one has to be a phone call. Now, I think if this should not be a whole bunch of time in here, because let's say that someone's calling because they've got a leak urgently. This should not be a whole bunch of time. So as soon as you can get to call these people, call them. So for the prospect, our first message is, "Thanks for calling, Cindy. Stacy couldn't take your call right now. Let us know what you need and we will return your call ASAP." And whether or not, we have a wait thing here, I didn't list it, but whether or not that we called or not, as soon as Stacy becomes available, he's going to call her. And hopefully, depending on what he's doing, hopefully that's 5-10 minutes. We don't want a whole bunch of time to go off here. Just because it got automation, we still need to get back as rapidly as possible, because if they've got issues, they're not going to wait. And so that we can put all kind of things down here, but I didn't. And if they're a customer, "Sorry, Cindy, Stacy couldn't take your call right now. Is this an emergency?" And you could technically put this emergency thing everywhere up here, but I didn't in this case. And when we build it out, we're going to build it out like this. But if you need emergency in yours, we could absolutely do that. But we're asking, hey, Cindy, sorry, Cindy, Stacy can take your car right now. Is this an emergency? If yes, then we're going to unassign Stacy, and then the next available user, if we have any, would be assigned. And we might want to put a thing here. Let's say Stacy is the lone wolf. He's the only person. So of course we wouldn't do this because Stacy is the only person. So we're going to unassign Stacy and then assign Stacy again. No, we're not going to do that. And then we call. As soon as Stacy, Bob, Joe, whoever is available, they call Cindy immediately. And hopefully if you've got a dispatcher or something like that, the dispatcher would be the one calling her back. But if it's not an emergency, we go over there and, okay, Cindy. Oh, well, I put, okay, Stacy will call you ASAP. An hour may be too long here too, but I put an hour. Was customer call back? If yes, and Stacy then put that they were called back, we're going to say customer called back and we close that off. If no, we're going to assign the next available user, and we're not going to wait for the person to call because Cindy already been waiting an hour. It's going to be that system call that I was saying earlier. As soon as we assign that user, boom, we're going to call the user and then call Cindy and connect them. So that's an overview of the missed call text back system. This is a little bit long, so we're going to breaking this down into two parts. And in our next part, we're going to actually build this. And because we're building a complex one, it's going to be longer than this one. But you will see the system at work and be able to see what's going on. Hopefully, that gets you somewhere along the lines of understanding how we handle those missed calls. As I said, we're still going to lose people that are using landlines because we can't text them. And some people, if they can't talk to a human immediately, they don't want to hear from you. So there will still be some leaks in this system. But those leaks that we can close, we're going to close. And we're going to get in contact with those people. Typically, I don't like to do it immediately. Some people like to have the system send that first message immediately. I like to wait 5-10 seconds before we send that first message. But anybody who deals with it and has called anything in the last few years typically know if you get a fast text response, you're dealing with a bot anyway. But still, it gives a little bit of human connection that you slow it down a little bit, but not too slow because we still want to respond within that first minute, 400%. Don't forget those numbers. But anyway, that's it for today. Hopefully you enjoyed this system, this video, and if you liked it, please click the subscribe button, the like buttons, and click the bell so you get notified when we put up new videos. All that helps the channel out, helps us know what you like and what you don't like, and we'll see you next time. Have a great one.